Chapter 21, going on. By the way, we're almost finished with the first book here. Only a couple more chapters to go, I think. Anyway, this one deals with work and my views on work and some thoughts there. Taught government at Twin Falls High School and Highland High School for a total of almost 30 years, and taught political science at the College of Southern Idaho for a whole bunch of years. Can't remember how many, about the same amount. At any rate, my view is that government and political science, those studies, are the most important classes that any student will take in their educational career. Now, I know science thinks they're really important, and they are, and English and math and all of that other stuff, they are. They're very, very important. But the reason I say that, and I use this maybe the first or second day of class, my thesis is that government impacts every aspect of everybody's life every day. I believe that is absolutely true, and the way I proved that, at least in my classes, is I would have a random student that I would select that I didn't know recount for me what they had done over the previous 24 hours without going into graphic detail and so forth, but generally what they had done over the 24 hours. And then after they finished the recount, I would go through each of those things that they did. Got up and brushed their teeth and took a shower and came to school and all of those activities during the day. Getting up and taking a shower. How in the world does government impact that? Well, the quality of the water, the soap and the shampoos are not controlled, but the quality is overseen by government agencies. The food, the cornflakes they had, or the pancakes. The FDA makes a standard for food consumption. Driving to school, well, they drove on government roads. You drive on the right side of the road because that's the law in the United States. If you exceed the speed limit or misuse or abuse your privilege to drive, they can fine you, they can take away your license. Government all impacts all of that. Came to school. You have to go to school. Don't have to go to school, but if you don't go to school, they get you do till you're 16 in the state of Idaho. The teachers are certified by government agencies. I always ask them, how come I'm teaching this class and not you or somebody else? Well, they've empowered me to do that because I've met their minimum standard requirements. A government agency has said that I have some expertise in this area. We just go on during the day. They go to work. Well, yeah. Do you get paid for this? Yeah. When you get your paycheck, is there any deductions? Yeah. Well, there's taxes that you have to pay, Social Security and employment and unemployment and income tax and all of that, all set by government. So anyway, we went on and on and on, and so every aspect of life is controlled by government. So I believe strongly that the study of government is the most important class that you take. How government impacts you would be important to know. And then more importantly, how you as an individual and groups of individuals can impact it. That is certainly worthy of our study and learning. By the way, the midterm election is coming up here in about 3 days. Today is Friday, so I guess it would be 4 days. Tuesday is election day. And one last thing, voting is the very basis and the minimum requirement for citizenship in a republic, such as the United States, and voting intelligently. Not just voting. You need to find out who is running and what are the issues on the ballot. and research those individuals and those proposals, constitutional amendments, whatever there might be. And then you decide which of the candidates most closely reflects your views and your values and your goals, and then you vote for that person in an intelligent way. Same way with the constitutional amendments or proposals on the ballot. They have to be studied, and you decide which side of the fence you fall on, and then vote in that way. A democracy requires an educated populace and an involved populace. Educated, if you vote without education and knowledge of what you're voting for, little value. If you have all of the knowledge and about all of the candidates and what's on the ballot, and yet you don't vote, again, we fall way short of what we should be. So the minimum requirement of citizenship in this country is voting, and then voting intelligently. And so we encourage you to exercise that great freedom and liberty that we have been given in this country to select our leaders and those who will make the laws that we each have to live under. All right, one other thing about work. I mentioned had lots of jobs in my life and so forth, and I mentioned briefly that I was a tennis coach here at Twin Falls High School and a softball coach at Twin Falls High School. I also taught or coached football at O'Leary for a couple of years. I was the defensive coordinator, had a lot of fun. It was great fun. Those were one of the reasons I did it was we needed a little extra money. Like I say, teaching, you can't live on one teacher's salary, and so you have to have some extra jobs to supplement that, and coaching was one of those, and they pay you a little stipend, very little stipend. Figures out to be about, maybe a quarter an hour for all the hours that you spend in coaching and traveling and doing all of the things that are involved in that season. But still, it was enjoyable for me. Anything with a ball in it, I like it. I was the tennis coach here at Twin Falls, and I loved tennis. It was great fun. The players and I had some spirited games, and they were pretty good. They got to be pretty good. In fact, I think we took third in the state one year in tennis, and so that was a lot of fun to do. Softball, I enjoyed that very much. I taught myself how to pitch softball. I always pitched baseball, but I've never been involved in softball much until I got the coaching job. So I taught myself how to pitch, so I was able to throw batting practice, and I was able to throw it up there to the point where not many of the girls wanted to hit very often because they had to see the ball before they could hit it. Now that sounds a little far-fetched, and it was, but I could wing it up there pretty good. But it was kind of fun. Two other things. I got the coaching job at Twin Falls High School. The head coaching job, the year we transitioned from slow pitch to fast pitch in Idaho softball. It'd been slow pitch all these years and years, and that's fine. Slow pitch is good, and it's fun. I played slow pitch, and hitting the ball where they ain't is the premium there, and so forth. But the transition, we had half of our schedule slow pitch games. The other half of the schedule was fast pitch games. And talk about a transition and moving from game to game, and one doubleheader would be slow pitch, and the next week it'd be fast pitch. So that was kind of a bit of a challenge but we were successful, and we went to the state tournament every year in softball. There's pictures of some of my softball teams in the book, and I was reading, of course, that chapter and looking at those pictures. As some very fond feelings about those teams that I coached, both in tennis and softball. I've maintained, contact with many of those girls. Most of them are married now and have kids of their own, and we recount some old memories of when they played softball, and their kids have to recount how good their mothers were as they played softball for me back in high school in those days. One other little quick tidbit. This is going to sound self-aggrandizing, and it probably is, but I gotta say it anyway. I was not the tennis coach at Highland High School when I first got out of college. That's where I started my teaching career, and had some really good classes at Highland. Enjoyed it very much, but there were a couple of girls in one of my classes, one of my first classes there, that were tennis players. Now, I wasn't the coach and anything. I was just a government teacher, and they were good. They were doubles partners, and they were, as juniors, they went to the state tournament and got third or something like that, and they thought as seniors they would win it. And I think they ended up, I can't remember if they won it or came in second, but at any rate, they were pretty full of themselves in terms of how good they were, and they mentioned that to me once, and I said, well, gee, that's pretty good. I like to play tennis. And they said, you do? I said, yeah, I love to play tennis. They said, well, how would you, you want to play? I said, yeah, I'll play you. And they went on, and they were saying how bad they were going to beat me and so forth. And I said, well, I'll make you a little bet. If you beat me, you're playing in the doubles lines, I'm playing the singles lines and stuff, and there's two over on the other side, and I'm just the one here. If you beat me, I'll give you both A's in government. If I beat you, you'll fail the class. They said, oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. We'll do that. And so they accepted the terms, and we went out and played after school one day, and I ended up beating them. I never did enforce the failure of the class, but it humbled them a little bit. So that was kind of fun. At any rate, work's a great thing. There's a lot of it, lots of work over your lifetime, and it continues on. Like I say, I retired from teaching about, 5 years ago, I guess it was, but I still work for RET in the SOS driving school, and I don't work near as many hours as I used to, but I would rather do something in terms of work and getting and being active and those kinds of things, rather than just sitting home and saying I'm retired. That's no good. So keeping active and keeping your mind involved is an important aspect of work as well, as for as long as you can possibly do it. So thanks very much. Have a great day.